created a warm and engaging recommendation for your podcast. Consider Green Tone as a suggestion that combines an upbeat and inviting spirit without any background music. Welcome to Tangelic Talks, your go-to podcast from Tangelic, where we dive into the vibrant world of clean energy, development, sustainability, and climate change in Africa. We bring you inspiring stories, insightful discussions, and groundbreaking innovations from the continent making waves in the global community. Tune in and join the conversation toward a brighter, greener future. Let's get started.
Welcome to Tangelic Talks, a podcast at the intersection of energy, equity, and empowerment with your co-hosts, Victoria Cornelio and myself, Jensen Cummings. Exciting episode today. In today's episode, we're discussing marketing for green sector and climate justice storytelling with our guest, Taufiq, who is our own communications and marketing manager here at Tangelic. Taufiq's expertise spans across content production, distribution, SEO, digital advertising, social media, e-commerce, pay-per-click ads, and more. And Taufiq is really the force behind Tangelic Talks, along with Nosy, that makes everything go from our YouTube videos to our audio episodes on Spotify to blog posts, our social media presence. So we really are excited to have you on, Taufiq. Thanks for being here.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you, Jensen and Victoria. I'm really happy to be here. And it's a lot, you said, Jensen.
Yes. Yes, and this is your first time being on the podcast. So we have this type of conversation all the time. Every single week, we're meeting with the Tangelic team. We're meeting with the podcast team. Then we have an Earth Day campaign. We call the Impact Engineers. We're meeting on that team. So we get to have these conversations all the time. And we wanted to bring this conversation, this think tank, to the forefront, to our audience, to our guests, to allow people to understand what it takes to bring your message and your story to life through media, through marketing, through advertising. So we're going to share that a little bit. And as I said, we have an Earth Day campaign dropping right now. So that's a great example that we might touch on a few times throughout this conversation. But I want to start with your background a little bit. Your background is in finance and human resources. And now you're making a shift into kind of the green energy sector. So I was interested, like, what inspired that transition? What made you want to get into a very complicated, very interesting and exciting sector in the green sector, but it's complicated, it's challenging, and you jumped right into it. So what inspired you to do that?
Okay. So it was like a roller coaster to me. And in my academic year, I started accounting and finance. Then I work in a project management sector. Okay. So it is all about interior project, hotel project. We do like 5-star and 4-star hotels in Bangladesh. And then I shifted into digital project management, so program management. Then I shift into this marketing and strategy sector, then green energy and green marketing sector. So it's a roller coaster to me.
Yeah, obviously that seems like a natural progression. Of course, you're going to go from finance and accounting into the green sector and marketing. It makes sense.
So it is like that when I'm working for ISO Limited. They are like one of the pioneer uh, interior project management in Bangladesh. So I work as a project coordinator over there. So what is happening over there? I work with different hotel and industry. They always ask for like green certification and other certifications. So always I'm curious what was those and why this is important to them. Okay, then I start researching on them, then I get more interested on them. Then I shifted into digital project management. I work with like some green energy consultant. At there I learned about lot of things regarding this green energy, different tools, different items, and how we can proceed with it, how we can progress with it. So a lot of things I learned from there. Then I came to Tangelic. So I have a bit background over there. Then I come to Tangelic, and Tangelic teach me a lot. I mean a ton. So uh, Justin, great leader. They support me like everything, and they they have all the solutions because of their experience in this industry, in this sector. So yes, now I'm working for Tangelic.
He's referring to our Justins, Justin Dargan, Justin Williams, the two leaders, our president of the board and founder, and then also Justin Williams, who's our executive director, and they are really the Justins, the J's that make this whole thing go. So we appreciate their leadership. Our Victoria, jump in here. I'm curious what your first question is for Taufiq.
Natural progression for you, like almost going up the ladder to the green sector. And you sort of explained how you were curious about it, but was there a pivotal moment where you said, okay, I'm doing it? This is where I pivot my career into green marketing, basically.
Yes, actually, that moment was like uh, I want to share a case study. Like uh, when I'm working with that interior projects, so they ask for green certification, and the Marriott chain do not like give clearance without that certification. And that moment, why this is so important, and why this is happening. And I went to China. I discussed with that organization, like actually what is happening, what is your procedure. Then I work with that other third party company who do inspection and test of those products. Then we tested that material. Then we bring that document to Marriott. Then they give us like clearance. Okay, you can use it. It is a simple plywood. So this is an pivotal moment that push me toward this and push me to know more about it.
Yeah. And now that you're fully immersed into it, I want to know from your perspective, why do you think it's important, useful, whatever word we want to put in there, to have this kind of knowledge about marketing to bring into the green sector? How does it help us sort of amplify messages and advocate for the changes we want to see in terms of sustainability?
uh, okay, first thing first, I hear this in some other podcast, like we do not have multiple earths, so we have only one. Okay, so we have to preserve it, and it should be our always like effort. We have to make it better. This is one of the main concern from my side. And other thing, the marketing thing is like basically before coming to Transelic, I worked with many different organization and see, I mean, I work with some e-commerce as well. At that, they want to be like go green, and sometimes in customer perspective, they want green product. Like they want sustainable product. They want some product like that have zero carbon emission, or like for example, um, plastic bottle versus aluminum bottle. So this thing is pushing me to think about this, like what can I do with this marketing, what can I do with this type of thing, and how can I improve it. Okay, so actually so many things compile as me today now.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the climate crisis is such a, at least for me, right? I won't speak for you guys, a quite emotional topic. It's very heavy. And when it comes to communications, we want to present a voice that explains that, dread that some of us feel, but also keep it light and engaging. So, how do you balance that when it comes to crafting a message that is both factually accurate, but also compelling?
Okay, so regarding storytelling is must because an individual person connect with story, and uh, backing that with fact is must because when someone engaged with that story, if he is going to take it or not, it will based on that facts. Okay, so we need credible data and good story. So after combining them, we present to our audience, and from there, we look at their like action. For example, like if we compile a story about like solar energy in Ghana. Okay, so for example, we are installed a small solar panel on their house, and we want to share that like they have this much less energy consumption, and that that child gives have that much like more educational time at night, and they have uh, mitigate this security problem. So like this, we compiling story and connect with our people or our stakeholder. So it's all about right thing, credible fact, and good storytelling.
Yeah, and you're specifically talking about the Sunrise Spectrum initiative that we're doing with Green for Change Ghana out there in Ghana. And so what we're talking about doing is putting solar panels on top of individual domiciles, individual homes to be able to power potentially electricity for the kids to be able to stay up later and not have to just read by candlelight, as well as solar electric cookware so that they're able to produce their traditional dishes in that way. So right, we have meaningful, compelling kids being able to stay up later and be able to study and expand their educational time, being able to have cookware that they're not using potentially harmful fuels like dried animal dung that's toxic to the lungs, so going to electric cookware. So there's an emotional pull and there's clearly a factual pull as well for you. So I think that's interesting. I want to talk about organizing kind of a campaign and storytelling and being able to slot things in, right? Because we have, let's say, for any organization out there, you have a meaningful story, you're making an impact, and you have the data, the science, the facts behind you to back the work that you're doing. So you have those three things. And there's many organizations that do. Most struggle desperately to get anybody to care, to get anybody to pay attention. And so I want to talk about that, how you bring that to life. And so I mentioned the Earth Day campaign. I think it's an opportunity for us to talk about how we've organized that, how you've kind of taken us and gotten us onto a calendar and said, here's when we're going to post, and here's what time, and here's what platforms, here's the copy, here's the hashtags. You're really detailed and organized in that way. Here's the message we're trying to get across. So when you're thinking about starting a campaign, for anybody out there who's starting a campaign, be it crowdfunding, be it awareness building, be it brand building, where do you start for you when you're thinking about starting a messaging, marketing, media campaign? Where do you start?
Okay, uh, let's discuss about this Arde campaign. Okay, so what we are doing it in background. Let's discuss about it so everyone will get clear. So in Arde campaign, what we will do at very initial stage, we will set our goal. Okay, we set our goal, and then we set some objective as well, like we are doing this and this, and then some little bit of messages, some little bit of slogans. So this period is like brainstorming period. Then we move to our storyboard. Then different audience compile with different story, like some audience connect with like how much electricity they can save. Some audience connected is like uh, how much carbon he can save or it can save. Or some audience is like they look into that emotional factors, like how is going on over there, like my life versus their life, this emotional side. So we consider all of this, and then we compile our story. And after compiling the story, we just make a small part, but not that small that like if someone miss one or two posts, he have that impression we miss a lot. Not like that. Like we we want to share a short compiling story, and behind that there is a big story. Okay, so like this we frame our storyboard, and with our historical data in our social media, we like schedule our post, like this post this day this time works better, this type of post this time works better, so we organize that. And regarding the hashtag and um, keywords, we look into like different, we work with different tools and see how it works in same time in previous years, and hopefully it will work in this year. Not only that, within these keywords, story, and and also we will do some visual representation as well, like some shorts video, some like pictures, some carousel, some like document, we make it. And also the blogs for website, if someone want to visit Tangelic website, they gather some knowledge about this art day. So I want to name those like stars behind it, like mm, Jensen is our storyteller, like he craft all of the story. Like Nosy, she is like a wizard in video editing and image making. So, and Victoria is our writer. She write blogs, and she is co-host in like in Tangelic Talks. So she is a star. And Amber, Matthew, overall, we are impact engineers.
Yeah, I love that. And there's so much that goes into it because, like you said, when you see the final product, there's all this behind the scenes that goes into it. And, I can imagine for you being our lead in comms, it's quite intense balancing all these things. So, can you give people advice on how you prioritize what you want to work on, but also how do you keep your eye on the ball when it comes to messaging and that story that you're trying to tell when all these things are coming at you from every direction?
Okay, I have a very small philosophy. Like, how can you eat an elephant? Okay, one bite at a time, small step. So when you like, it is a process. Like, start with this thing, then do this thing, then do this thing. So you have to like manage your time. You should know your time management. And the story, just be authentic, be transparent, and backed with data. So your story is compiling, but you are not data accurate, so it's a problem. It's not good for your brand. Regarding that storytelling, just set your goal first, and then your objectives, then make some different stories, what is going on with you, then shortlisted them, then again expand them. And with your already historical data, you can easily post. And if you are like you are in very initial stage, just do some research, look into some credible blogs, so you will have some idea like this type of post is when perform better. Like if it is a website blog, if it's a like YouTube video, or if it's like Instagram story, Instagram post. So just look at them. And one more thing, you do not push yourself too hard. Like, be genuine. If people want to just look at your process, not like where you go, okay, they want to know your journey. So share your journey, whatever it is.
That's really great. Two things come to mind from what you're talking about. One, with just the handling the workload. I'll share with people specifically something we were maybe too ambitious at first with how much we thought we could get done. So we're like, we're going to start April 1st. We're going to do all these things. I had this massive amount of content we're going to put out, and at a certain point, we said, slow down. Let's really focus. We readjusted our timeline. We readjusted the amount of content that we put out so that we didn't just throw things out there. We wanted to be very thoughtful about it. So we scaled back, we focused, and we got to the second part of what I wanted to say was pillars of content is something that I always think about. So like, what are those core messages? What are those core data points that you have that you want to highlight? And you look at those, and to your point, you really look at them and understand how can I bring the most value? What's the most compelling part of this specific story? And then you look at the way you want to tell that story. Do I want to tell that story through blog posts? Do I want to tell that story through email marketing to our network? Do I want to tell that story through pictures as carousels on Instagram? Is it going to be a post on LinkedIn that's more long form written? Is it going to be a short form, quick hit little video on TikTok or Instagram Reels? So you start to take that pillar content, and you pull this thread down into that micro content, and then you start to develop that hashtags and the keywords and people that you want to tag or collaborate with on that post. So that pillars of content piece, I think, is to what you're speaking on, is really important, and keep coming back to that and make sure you're telling that authentic story in that, I think, is really valuable. Global and local reach. We are trying to figure that out for Tangelic. Tangelic has a international team. I'm in the United States. We have multiple people in the United States. You're in Bangladesh. Victoria's in the UK. We have people in Ghana, South Africa, Bahrain, and other countries. So we're trying to figure out how to get our message into the communities that need our support. We're working a lot in Ghana specifically, so we want the audiences there. But we're also have this international feel to us. How do you balance that? How do you know who you're talking to? How do you know, is this message going to resonate with somebody in California versus somebody in Ghana? And I think we're trying to balance that. And I don't think we always know the answer to that. So we're working through that. How do you think about messaging to a global audience while still staying relevant in kind of a localized way?
Uh, this is a beautiful part of Tangelic. We are a global team. Okay, so it is very easy for us to crafting a message in globally, because what is happening over here, like I'm from South Asian region, someone is in African region, someone in American region. So if some message or something is offend other, we can easily address that within our organization. Okay, but for someone it is not that much easy, who have only like team in United States. They will like very limited understanding of Africa. Okay, if some team in like South Asia, then that has very limited knowledge about USA. Okay, like this, what we need to do, like uh, uh, just share our message, look is it working or not, and do your research properly. And also when you doing this research, try to put yourself in your target audience shoe. So uh, this audience demographic is very important in this area. Okay, so consider like Gen Zs are like, they are more into like facts. They are not into like emotional connection. But millennials, they are very emotionally connected. They are very ethically connected. And for boomers, they want like grow the economy. So if I share my message with Gen Zs, I need to share like um, facts. If I want to share my message with millennials, I want to uh, share my message with ethical standpoint. If I share my message with like boomers, I have to share my message in economic point of view. So all of these things we need to consider. And so these are basically thumbs rules. And when you continue doing it, you will research on it and you will know what's working and what's not. But if sometime you offended someone, address it. No response is very bad response. So address it, just say sorry, like we do not mean to do that, next time won't happen it again.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot to balance, especially with a global team, different languages and cultures, interests in between the generations and things like that. But I want to touch back on when we were talking about being authentic, because being authentic with all of these things to consider is quite the task. But also, how do we avoid greenwashing while promoting sustainability initiatives. Because something that happens is if we're so focused on sending out a message in a certain way with for a certain audience, there's a lot of critique about how that message is received, and one of the critiques is greenwashing or maybe posing and things like that. So how do we make sure that that authenticity shines through and it isn't taken as greenwashing?
So whatever we do, like we take credible data. Like we have a partner in Ghana. Okay, when if I discuss about that sunrise spectrum, then we have Green for Ghana partner over there. What they do, if we install a solar panel in any home roof, then they will provide us data like they have this much economic benefit in their house, or they are enjoying this much economic benefits. So this is credible data. And other one is what we take third party data as well. We make sure we have the right data to get not greenwashing. And if someone address it like in our social media, like this is not right, this is you need to change. So we share our data with them, like this data is this data is came from here, and these are authentic. So okay, you can take it. And sometimes what happening is there, if we do not address that, some other people may think okay, this may be a fake data. So it is very crucial that this data is not correct. We address that and like unclose our data.
Yeah, and it sounds like a lot of it is we're not just making authentic content, but we're also being transparent when our audience engages with us. And a lot of that is you. So thank you, Taufiq.
Yeah, it's balancing that equation, being able to have, again, the data and the emotions live as one, be able to interplay in that way, which is incredibly difficult to do. Again, it's so great to hear your trajectory and your story of starting off in finance and accounting and then moving into this space that is so incredibly complicated. It's so political, it's so socioeconomic, it's so global, and then it also hits home at a very local level when we're putting a solar panel on a single family home who's living off the grid, that child has an opportunity to be educated to then go on and maybe be a future marketer in the green space as well. So a really, really important work that's happening here. So I can't believe that is time. We're going to wrap this part of the episode here. We've been talking marketing for the green sector and climate justice storytelling with the one and only Taufiq, our own communications and marketing manager at Tangelic and the force behind Tangelic Talks. As always, we're going to stay on with Taufiq a little bit longer, get some Q&A, dig a little bit deeper into some topics. There'll be some more actionable things that you can check out at tangeliclife.org. Check out that blog post, that Victoria will put together. As Taufiq said, she's our writer and makes sure that our story comes out through the written word. And always some really good nuggets in there. So definitely check that out. It's going to be strange for Taufiq to have to put together his own blog post and page for himself, which is going to be nice on that front. Once again, this was our episode with Taufiq on green sector marketing and climate justice storytelling. That's it for this episode, Tangelic Talks. Appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's talk power, let's talk change. From rural lights to brighter days. Equity rising, voices strong. We're building tomorrow where we all belong. Tangelic Talks, energy, equity, pride. Empowering the world, side by side. A spark becomes a fire, a vision that's true. Together we rise, it starts with you.